I think it's towards the end of your book and towards the conclusion, you say, Greece will not move forward and escape its great crisis unless it becomes a visibly more open place, keen to embrace the world rather than keep it out, comfortable with change and innovation rather than being terrified of it, to be, as you say elsewhere, at the core of Europe. But, and this is my own question, how does this happen with the sort of prevailing, what seems to be a prevailing simultaneous view within Greece that, again, to quote you, policy is being made in the north of Europe and being inflicted on the south?
Okay. Well, I mean...
Easy question.
Yeah. I'll answer it with great facility. But look, I mean, it's obviously the case that the Eurozone will not have a long and happy life unless the more powerful countries of the North become more willing to look beyond their narrow national interest and take a more European point of view. So far what's happened is that they've imposed a great deal of pain on the South. The South has shown itself to be politically committed to doing very difficult reforms, to taking on a great deal of austerity, spending cuts, tax hikes. But the creditors, the northern countries, think that they've done everything right, and therefore they need to do no adjustment. And that's a huge problem, and it creates the justified sense that the costs of adjustment are being decided not according to what's in the interest of Europe, but what's in the interest of Berlin and its satellite countries in the north. But Greece, I mean, whether it stays in the euro, or, which I very much hope, or it leaves, the only way for it to prosper, in my view, is for it to embrace openness, not only in the economy, but in wider society as well. And, you know, see globalization as an opportunity and not a threat, be able to open its borders to highly skilled immigrant workers who will come in and contribute not only to the economy, but also to the deeply troubled insurance funds, which are all basically bankrupt. You know, that has to happen whether we stay in the euro or not. But of course, I think it will be much easier if we stay in the euro, because if we leave the euro, my fear is that all the restraining influence of Europe will be gone, and Greece will become a kind of, you know, a kingdom of the most ruthless and the most mediocre, a kind of almost a gangsterocracy. So I very much hope that won't happen.
Well, on that uplifting thought, no, let me just say very briefly that it's interesting in that much of what you say is being played out in Britain, for example. There's the question of an aging population and the need for a vibrant immigrant community to do exactly as you're saying. So this is not absolutely confined to Greece, but nevertheless.
Sure. I mean, it's a very wide European. In Germany, they have a big problem with that. You know, and it's. I mean, I just think in Greece specifically, we're very bad at talking about these serious structural policy issues. We stay very much on the surface of the political discussion, call each other names, and fail to tackle the real. I mean, one of the things I talk about in the book about pension reform is that in 1997. When there was a serious report made about the future, the medium-term future of the pension system, and the people who wrote it actually said that if there's a narrow window of opportunity to make some reforms now, if we don't do it, then by 2010, the system will be broken. And one of the top union representatives of the country came out and said that that's manifestly nonsense because the pension system is subsidized by the state budget, capital S, capital B. And therefore, what these people are telling us is that the pension system will go bankrupt because the state will go bankrupt, and we all know that's impossible. Well, as it turns out, in 2010, the state went bankrupt, and to a large extent because of the huge accumulated pension obligations.